What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Second to None podcast, where we break down the biggest Texas stories of the week, raw, real, and straight from the heart of the Lone Star State. If you love Texas, make sure you subscribe to the Second to None podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean, so you don't miss the stories that keep this state spinning. This week's Texas Roundup is loaded. From new border wall projects to political flashpoints, a barbecue legend making a comeback, and even a record-breaking bird migration that had the sky glowing over Houston. Let's saddle up. So, the big story this week. The Trump administration just signed nearly $1.9 billion in contracts to build about 80 miles of buoy barriers along the Rio Grande. These will be focused around Eagle Pass and Brownsville, two of the most politically charged crossings on the Texas-Mexico border. Supporters say this move strengthens border security and prevents illegal crossings, but critics argue it's expensive, environmentally risky, and purely political. Governor Abbott, of course, applauded the decision, saying Texas will do what Washington won't. But it doesn't stop there. Abbott's also directing local governments to remove rainbow crosswalks, claiming they're political symbols, threatening to pull transportation funding from any city that doesn't comply. That stirred up major backlash from LGBTQ+ groups and local leaders who say these are community symbols, not politics. And then there's Attorney General Ken Paxton, who's been in the news again, this time for launching undercover operations targeting so-called leftist and transgendered organizations. Paxton's office claims they're investigating potential terror cells, but critics, and even some conservatives, are calling it political overreach that could violate civil liberties. Texas politics, y'all. Never boring. Now, shifting gears, some interesting local updates across the state. In Austin, Cap Metro just announced their new chief of transit police, Reneral Bowie, a respected law enforcement leader stepping into a tricky job balancing public safety with Austin's ongoing public transit expansion. Down south, Elon Musk's starbase in Boca Chica is getting even more autonomy, gaining control over parts of the Texas coastline and highway access for rocket launches. That means SpaceX can manage road closures and beach access directly, which is big news for both innovation and local residents who've been split over the rapid expansion of the Space Coast of Texas. If you've ever been to South Padre or Brownsville, you know the culture down there runs deep, so balancing progress with preservation is a constant dance. All right, now for something a little more delicious, barbecue redemption. If you've been around Austin or San Antonio, you probably know Miguel Vidal, the former pitmaster behind Valentina's Tex-Mex Barbecue, a cult favorite known for blending brisket, tacos, and tradition. After a few quiet years, Vidal's back, joining Church Road Tejas Barbecue in Austin as pitmaster, with a grand opening set for October 22nd. That's big news in the barbecue world because Valentina's helped shape what people now call Tex-Mex barbecue fusion. And now with Church Road Tejas, he's promising a return to fire, flavor, and family. You can almost smell the smoke, can't you? This episode of the Second to None podcast is proudly brought to you by 21C Catering, San Antonio's premier full-service catering company serving up authentic Texas flavor with a modern twist. Whether it's a wedding, corporate event, family reunion, or private dinner, 21C Catering delivers 5-star food and seamless service anywhere in Texas, and yes, even beyond state lines. From brisket to gourmet spreads, they bring that signature Texas hospitality to every event. So if you're looking to impress your guests and keep them coming back for seconds, visit 210catering.com and tell them the Second to None podcast sent you and get $25 off. This next one's wild, literally. Last week, scientists recorded 1.25 billion birds migrating through Texas in a single night, with Houston and Harris County as major hotspots. Residents reported seeing waves of lights and shadows across the sky, almost like a living aurora. Experts are urging Texans to turn off unnecessary outdoor lights at night to protect these birds as they navigate by starlight. So yeah, while the political world was buzzing, Mother Nature had her own show going on, and it was spectacular. All right, sports fans, high school football is heating up.
Lake Travis, Dripping Springs, and Westlake are still dominating Central Texas, while College Park just broke into the statewide top 20 with a 6-0 record. On the college side, the NCAA just announced changes to the transfer portal rules. Starting in 2026, players will only have one window to transfer, January 2nd to 16th. That's a massive shift that could change how teams like UT, A&M, and TCU handle recruiting cycles. As they say, everything's bigger in Texas, even the drama in college football. Before we move on, make sure you hit subscribe to the Second to None podcast on Apple Podcasts or Podbean. We bring you real stories, real Texans, and real talk every week. And hey, drop us a review if you like what you're hearing. It helps more people find the show and keeps Texas voices front and center. When you zoom out, This Week in Texas really sums up what the Lone Star State is all about: freedom, friction, flavor, and fierce identity. From border battles to barbecue comebacks, we're a state that doesn't just make headlines, we are the headlines. And whether you agree or disagree with the politics, you've got to admit, Texas never sits still. That's your Texas Roundup for this week, folks. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to the Second to None podcast, share it with a friend, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more stories and conversations that keep Texas real. I'm your host, signing off, reminding you, be bold, be curious, and be second to none.